The socio-economic effects of the recession include unemployment, inflation, and loss of livelihood strategies. These have serious negative consequences on the stability of families, the standard of living, education, healthcare, infrastructure, and general well-being are affected. Hello and thanks for joining us today on TV and Business Daily. I am Chiwende Osisiago, and today we shall be discussing on the socio-economic impact of Nigeria's recession. Before we proceed with that discussion, let's look at the business updates making headlines. Transaction in the Nigerian equity market on Tuesday closed on a negative note following sustained profit taking. The market breadth also closed negative with 14 gainers against 18 losers. Consequently, the all-share index dipped 30.62 basis points or 0.09% to close at 35,033.74 index points as against 35,064.36 recorded the previous trading section. The market capitalization of equity depreciated by 16 billion naira from 18.33 trillion naira the previous day to 18.31 trillion naira as market sentiment remained in a negative territory. Meanwhile, a total turnover of 307.72 million shares exchanged in 4,507 deals was recorded in the day's trading. Also, the banking subsector was boosted by the activities in the shares of Guaranteed Trust Bank PLC and EcoBank PLC, followed with a turnover of 32.12 million shares in 838 deals. Against the backdrop of the 5 naira reduction in the price of premium motor spirit petrol announced by the federal government, fuel marketers have said it is not possible to sell the product at 162 naira per litre amid the current market realities. The Ministry of Labour and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige, had announced the petrol price cut at the end of the meeting with Labour leaders, which began around 9 p.m. on Monday and ended at 1:30 a.m. on Tuesday. Top officials of the Marketers Association who spoke to our correspondent on Tuesday said the price decrease had not been communicated to them, adding that they only read media reports that the government had reached an agreement with organized labour to reduce petrol price by about 5 naira per litre. The National Operation Controller, Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, Mike Osatuyi, told one of our correspondents that given the recent increase in global oil prices and devaluation of the naira, petrol price of 162 naira cannot work except we are going back to subsidy. Farmers under the aegis of Food Growers Association of Nigeria on Monday announced their partnership with the federal government and the provision of agricultural equipment and inputs at affordable rates. National President Foga Joseph Owolabi told our journalists at a press briefing in Abuja that the partnership was between the association and the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. He stated that through the partnership, the food growers would bring most unemployed youth to the business of farming, stressing that agriculture must be treated as a business in Nigeria. Owolabi said food growers were trying to complement the efforts of government in the agricultural sector and that farmers had their own role to play in the business. The Senate on Tuesday passed for second reading a bill to allow banks recover loans from defaulters, place them on what list and eventually blacklist them without recourse to the borrowers. The bill, sponsored by Senator Sani Musa, was seeking an act to establish a unified scheme for a sound financial system that will facilitate and improve credit payment culture by empowering creditors' bank to track loan defaulters. Musa said the creditors' bank would be able to do so through the means of the defaulters' bank verification number. He said the bill would empower the creditor banks to recover the said loan from other accounts operated by the defaulters without recourse to the loan borrowers. He also said the bill would provide penalties for breaches and violation of obligations and enhance loan recovery across banking sectors in Nigeria. And that's the business updates on Television Nigerian. I am Chiwende Osisiago. Let's take a quick break. We'll be back shortly.
My name is Chiwende Osisiago, presenter Television Nigerian Business Daily. In a globalizing world, ours is to keep you engaged, informed, and educated on contemporary happenings in the business world. We therefore command a special audience of business-minded viewers who are eager to know more about business. I mean, your business. Why don't you take advantage of our special affordable offer to let the world know about your concepts, your goods, and of course, your services? You can call us on 080-3071-6959 or 070-3234-9054. You can also visit us at Television Nigerian in Guzapi, Abuja, and follow us on all our social media handles on Facebook, YouTube, and of course on Twitter at Television Nigerian. Your business is our concern.
Thanks for staying with us in the program. And if you're just joining us, it's TVN Business Daily. Like I said earlier, we shall be discussing on the socio-economic impact of Nigerian's recession. My guest is here in the studio to discuss with us on that topic. He is a financial analyst and an economist, Mr. John Ochai. You're welcome to TVN Business.
Thank you very much.
It's good to have you today.
Nice to meet you once more.
Okay, now let's talk about the socio-economic impact of this Nigerian recession, I beg your pardon. So what exactly do you think is the socio-economic impact?
Thank you very much. First and foremost, we should understand what the economic is all about. Because when we talk about economy, a lot of people doesn't really understand what economic overview is all about. Economy is an actions of production, consumption, and transfer of financial wealth to the people or to the society at large. And we have two types of economics, micro and macro. Micro targets the household, which is individual, the businesses, while the macro target the aggregations of the entirety of goods and services rendering within the fiscal year. And it has a lot of impact because it's a symbiosis, because they are entangled and deal with each other, because the society cannot do without the individual, and the individual cannot do with the entire society. And that is why when government, institutes a policy, it has a replica effect on the people because it's day-to-day activity. For instance, with what just happened yesterday, when the president announced reduction of 5 naira from the previous increase of pump price, it still have a negative effect because it will not change the aftermath of what had been done before. So for that, the impact is this. Once there is a manipulation of economic policy, sometimes it affects the entire economy. And there are other issues also as well that affect the economy in the midst of the manipulations. Civil unrest, that goods and services that we are supposed to be produced are not produced within those fiscal year. When you calculate the aggregation, and if there is a mishap and there is a slight reduction of the economic impact, it also affects the economy. So vis-a-vis ab initio, every decision that is being taken by the individual, by the business markets player, and by the government have a ripple effect on the individual and the entire economy. And that is the face-off we are seeing in our society, Nigeria, as it is today. That when you go to the market, the service is high, goods are on the increase, there is a spike of inflation, and there are a lot of things that are being hyped, and also the activities of government is on the increase, and nothing is changing. Even when government have applied so many decisions, and those decisions are not forth-working, but we are hoping that they should be thinking of the masses, what they would do for the society, rather than looking forward of what the society will do for the government.
All right, thank you very much. Social economic basically deal with unemployment, inflation, the livelihood of people. Now, to your own best of understanding, how do you think Nigerians are actually coping in this period of a recession?
I somewhat sympathize with Nigeria, most especially the vulnerables, because when two elephants are fighting, the grass is softer, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it has become a usual practice that we have witnessed over time, that instead of government to design and plan for the economy of their dear country, that will bring the fortune, that will bring opportunity, that will bring wealth to the society and to the people that lives within that geographical environment. It's not what's happening. Okay. I will tell you why. Let us not be sentimental when we are discussing about Nigeria economy, because this is a country of our birth, and is a country that we will live to also give back to the economy and to the society and to the people. Because the functionalities of government is to regulate and not to take charge of the economy. Any society where government take charge of an economy, the economic suffer, because government are not the good managers of the economy. When you talk about economy, is a societal activities of business that takes place. Let's, for instance, now fuel my car from my destination to this destination. I know how much it consumes. My salary has not been increased. My salary remains as it were. But my expenditures have increased over time because of the recession, because of the inflation, because there is an increase in goods and services. And once there is an increase and the society is not giving back to the people in return, the people suffers. That is why I use that illustration. That when two elephants are fighting, there is a ripple effect to the grass, isn't it? And that is exactly what is happening in our society. Government over time have not been deregulating. And if you want to bring economic prosperities to the peoples of this society, we need to deregulate whatever sectors of the economy, so that it will be business-oriented, private, strictly driven. And with that, we will have a headway. For instance now, most of the things that we manage in the country today is by government. And also government plays a monopoly in the system. And a system where there is a high monopoly, that the market does not determine the outcome of the activities of the market, is also a problem.
True.
Governments are the owners, they are the managers. And look at the society today, because of high corruption that is going on within the country. People does not pay attention to do the needful by working, because people don't want to work. And then the GDP on the decline. That is why we went to these recessions, because what ordinarily that the private sector should have done to back the economics of this nation, because there is no level playing ground, and also because there is no existing enabling environment. The private sector that was supposed to drive the economy to the pinnacle of where we ought to be, find it very difficult to complement the government activities and participations in the economy. And that is why we have these compounded issues in our country. Well, I don't know whether the populations we have is a curse to us or is a blessing. China has the population. I think they are the number one populous country in the world. They took advantage of their population and look within, design their box. As I speak to you, China are the highest importer of automobile. But as I speak to you, they are the highest producers of machineries or motors, generators, and all that. China were the highest importer of electronics. As I speak to you, they have grown their economy to the extent that they don't longer import, rather they export electronics. As I speak to you, the consumptions of the agro product is just Google and make your finding. China's were, because China, it come to a time that China was very, very hungry, to the extent that they were suffering from a high rate of stomach infrastructure, that people were dying of kwashiorkor. You understand? And at the end of the day, what happens? They were able to improve on human resources and were able to develop their economy by giving the opportunity to the private sector to come into the economy and repositions and positions their economy where it is today. But over time, in this country, we lament a lot. And where the laments come from? The individual have been caged not to react. If we saw what happened during the NSACs. And just as I always said in these television stations, you cannot eat your cake and still have it, isn't it? For instance now, we know very well that oil that we depend on is going down. And then OPEC have also given us a benchmark of daily production in our country. So it's not like before that we will stand up and begin to produce because of the excessive supply. You understand? And we have a less demand, which cripple the price in the economy of the world.
Right.
And it have a ripple effect on us. And coming to, before you cut me, please don't be offended.
Okay,
I know I'm taking time. Coming to our society, we need to do away with the international economic approach and design our own approach that fits into the society where we are to change the status quo. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. John Ochai. Okay, don't forget to make your contributions via our comment sections, or you can call us on 07032349054. Okay, now we'll take a quick break. Then after the break, we'll continue with our discussion. Please stay with us. Thanks for staying with us again on the program. And if you're just joining us, it's TV and Business Daily, and we've been discussing on the socio-economic impact if Nigerians recession. I beg your pardon. My guest is a financial analyst and an economist, Mr. John Ochai. And I said earlier that you should not forget to make your contributions on our comment section, and you can call us on our number 0703-234-9054 to make your contributions. Okay, now my next question for you now is that what is the way forward for Nigerians?
The way forward for Nigeria is for us to change from our old ways and redesign a new way. And the only way to do that, we know that the demand for oil is low.
Okay.
And then we cannot navigate, so we should try as much as we can to develop a modular refinery by the private sector, so that we produce our own oil. Because the reason why we are having a decline in the economic activities, and then we are having the impact much on the people, is as a result when there is a little increment in the pump price, everything changes.
Okay, I think we have a caller. Hello? Hello? Good morning. Hello? I think it's the network. Probably you call back. Okay, you saying something, Mr. John.
So, just as I was saying, I said it is a high time for us to reinvent our own boss within the country, not to depend on the expectations of our crude oil, that we can build a modular refinery through the private investors. Because I could recall Russian promised to come to this country, even American promised to come to this country to build modular refinery that will augment the existing production if our refinery is producing, so that it will reduce the cost of, because I cannot live as a citizen when I was born. To this very moment, we find it very difficult to be maintaining the old refineries we have.
Okay.
And then it's also, government should deregulate the NNPC so that private individual who is business driven can come in and take over. You understand? And then government can also be a player in the market. You understand? So that there will be competitions. Because if there is no competitions, we find it very difficult to compete.
Okay. Hello? Can you hear us?
Hello? Yeah, I can hear you. Good morning.
Good morning. So what's your name and where are you calling from?
Yeah, my name is Socio. I'm calling from Maraba in Abuja.
Okay, so what's your contribution?
Okay, thank you very much. I followed the guest speaker, and the discussion so far was also confessed has been very revealing. But again, I would like to say that it's very obvious the impact of the economy has actually been, of course, you can look at it, how it has impacted the bigger economy at national level, and of course the average Nigerian, of course, it's very, very adverse. Adverse in the sense that it's very, very negative. Skyrocketing of prices of goods and other commodities, people not being able to meet up with a lot of things and all of that. So it has actually dealt a bad blow on the whole aspect of the economy, foodstuffs and everything, that it may not come back again. The only thing we hope that the people are able to adjust and upscale and be able to meet up. Our borders are closed, things are being manufactured here, yet they are expensive. Then before the borders are open, you are now going to see that dollar is already expensive, and of course, we are going to be importing things at much more expensive rate. So people should just realize that there's no how we can go back to what it used to be before. Of course, rather, the only way to adjust is to scale up and see how we can adjust and, of course, get better income and be able to wait for a time our economy will be more stable and the free fall will stop, God willing.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. CK, for calling for your contribution.
Thank you.
Mr. John, he spoke about the huge negative effect of the recession and the economy. So what do you have to add to his contribution?
Yeah, I think you have said it all. Everybody knows that the economic is on the negative. A country where economic is in recession, it's also, you should understand, it's on the negative. I think the last time we checked on the GDP is on minus 6.13, and it went on the fourth quarter. It also went down on the minus 3.60 something. That is why we were declared a country that have just moved into recession in 5 consecutive times of. So, with what he said, that is why we are talking about the implication, the effect, and the ripple effect. And you look at it now, everything, there is inflation. With society where there is a high inflation, what are you going to talk about again? It's just that the economic manager who have the bow and the horn, they are the people who have the mantles of taking responsibility to scale up the economy. And that is why I was giving my thoughts on the economy, saying that you cannot practice the same attitude, the same way over and over to have the same a new result.
True.
You understand? I spoke last time when I was here. Till this very minute, we are having a disgruntled economy, and the government have not cut their expenditure. The economic activity is going down on day by day, simply because we have high tax, isn't it? Then we have high interest rate, isn't it, within the country. I think I have said it here before. This is a high time that government increase their expenditure so that the economy at large will have impact. You understand?
Yeah.
So that the people whom you are managing their economic, that entrusted this power, that entrusted this economics to you, will begin to have the impact. As I speak to you, 65% of average population are in the total abject poverty, no work. That is, they don't have any place to say, I'm going out today to work. And where do you think that they will have money to spend? You understand? And by giving an incentive of 5,000, 2,000 naira to them for them to augment cannot solve the problem. Because I always say, you don't teach a child by giving that child a fish, isn't it? But you teach the child how to catch fish. And in Nigeria economy, if you look at the television station, they say, I give you 20,000 naira to the people. And after they squander and there is no business orientation, they cannot plug back the money to the economy. Rather, they will spend the money, you understand, and still fall back to the same society, which is the government, to give them back more and more. You understand? Because you have not really teach them. Because as I speak now, there was no massive orientation given to the average populace of this country. I don't know what the national orientation agencies are even doing. You understand? Because we cannot continue to patronize government. Where government is doing something wrong, we correct it. Where individuals are doing something wrong, we correct it. You understand? Yeah. And reposition our economy. Because if our economic is bad, definitely things will continue to go porous. So one, they should open our border. You understand? Okay. And just as I said, there should be a stringent measure when the border is open. And then they should also reduce our taxation. And this is the time that firm industries should be given tax holiday, isn't it? So that they will be able to use this aspect to so that there will be their goods and services will be reduced. The cost of production will reduce. Then the cost of consumption will also be reduced. And then government should try as much as we can to do what to go into full capitalist nation, not this mixed economy we are practicing in our society. Because a society where there is a mixed economy, government is become a dominant and a big player in the market, which will not take us to the destinations where we are. And for us to scale up, you understand, government needs to deregulate, and then the private sectors who are financier will be able to woo international investor to come in and push the market to where it should be.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. John Ochai, for your contribution on the program today. We really learned a lot from you. And you said it that, number one, government should try and open borders, then reduce taxation and give orientation to the average Nigerian. At least when they're giving loans or money, they can know what to use it for. Then lastly, government to provide full capitalists for the nation as a whole, so that Nigeria will definitely improve, and we hope for a better Nigeria to come 2021. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And that's what you have for you today on TVN Business Daily. I am Chiwendu Osisiago. And don't forget that you can follow us on all our social media platforms, on Facebook, on YouTube, and of course on Twitter at Television Nigerian. Do have a wonderful day. Bye for now.